Take off.
How are you, Nick?
Right.
That's good. Laura, if I could call upon you to come around this way,
Yes.
just so that you don't need to
I
go.
don't want to trip on your wires.
Yeah.
And I hook everything.
I don't think that's actually the problem. Why take a chance?
Oh, there you go. Oh, this is a.
Yeah, Felicia's
Felicia's.
getting high tech now.
So who's it? That's
Yeah.
That's
Felicia's?
Felicia's.
It's Felicia. Felicia's invisible.
Relax, you know,
Right.
Android or something.
Felicia.
Commenting on your high tech setup.
That's fine.
So it's a far cry from what it used to be.
The little thing actually records this easier,
No.
if I could have it here.
Now that's simpler together.
Oh, 7 o'clock. Look at that. So I'm going to call to order the organizational meeting of January 10th, 2023. Two quick announcements before I get into resolutions. One, I've had some very interesting meetings with a company called Archtop Fiber. Archtop Fiber is a new company. They do have their main people do have deep roots in wire infrastructure companies. They've strung cable wire all over the world, in this country, over in Europe, down in South America. Archtop is a, I guess, what they do is they put a company together, they put some wire, and then they may sell it eventually, and then they start over with another company. In any event, they are working with Ulster County. I know that the town of Ulster is signed on. I believe both the village and Saugerties have signed on. And they're proposing, they're going to start sometime this year to run cable and run a cable company basically to compete with Spectrum in Ulster County over into Dutchess, I believe Columbia County, and I think out into Delaware County.
What's the name of it again?
Archtop Fiber. I do anticipate that they're going to start sometime in 2023. This will again offer an alternative to Spectrum for people. It's slated to be cheaper. I'm told that the connection is going to be about $55. It should be more reliable. It will definitely be stronger capacity. It'll be capable of putting more information in and out. They also offer technology where they will bury a lot of their cable. They have a trenching system. I know that I plan to meet with Scott Bonesteel and the company at some point. If any of you would like to sit in and learn a little bit more, let me know and I can make you aware that when that meeting is going to take place. But I'm very excited about it.
It says here that their headquarters are in Kingston.
They're down
And they
in,
have an office in Florida, in Stuart, Florida.
they are down in Tech City.
Yeah, Enterprise Drive. Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Also, it's very green. It does not use where the Spectrum has to energize every third pole. They have no electric in the field. It's all generated from a couple of their main hubs, and they produce very little electric out across the line. So they're green, they're safer, they're cheaper, they're more reliable. Also, when the power goes out, because they use such little power, and they have battery backup for what they do need, people will be able to maintain during a blackout, they'll be able to maintain communications for longer. That isn't to say if the power goes out for a week, that the battery backup may not die, but it's certainly a lot better than what we have.
So are they mostly internet? Because I know Spectrum does internet, phone, and TV. Do you know what?
There'll be internet and phone.
Internet and phone.
Yeah, and cable too. Now, they don't offer channeling.
Okay.
but you can get the internet and then you can bring your Hulu
Or
or
you
your
can write stream.
Amazon, you can do your
Mhm.
streaming. So
So you can't do regular TV then.
not unless you stream it somehow. I mean, I get some regular TV on one of the streaming channels, so. But listen, it's a good alternative. Their coverage is going to be great. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah,
all.
well, let's know when it's gonna be, and we'll see what works out.
Mhm.
So,
The other thing is, and you've all gotten a copy of the sampling, soil sampling came back from 10 Church Road. There were a couple of things that checked on it. Dennis has got a copy of that. We have sent it off to the DEC for them to take a look at. I'm going to be having a phone conference with them in the next couple of days to get their analysis, and the Amy's have gotten a copy of it as well. So their expert is taking a look at it. I'll, when I hear any more, I'll let you know. With that, be it resolved to designate Hudson Valley One as the town's official newspaper, town notices to be published in the Wednesday edition.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint the town clerk as the person responsible for public and media notice of meetings of the town board and for advertisements authorized by the town board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to appoint Jackie Early, Registrar of Vital Statistics, Records Management Officer, Tax Collector, and Records Access Officer for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to authorize tax collector to deposit funds collected in interest-bearing accounts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolved pursuant to section 64 of the town law, Woodstock Town Board designates the Bank of Green County as the depository for funds for the supervisor, town clerk, tax collector, and the Woodstock Town Court for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to impose a charge of $20 for each check returned for insufficient funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolved to appoint supervisor as social officer and personnel officer for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to appoint Melanie Marino, confidential secretary, to the supervisor for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I have to compliment Melanie. She's been terrific.
You know, I get compliments every day. I was lucky with Ashley, but Melanie has surpassed that, and I couldn't be happier with how the office is humming along and really doing quite well. Be resolved to appoint Heather Amy, confidential secretary, to the highway superintendent for the year 2023.
Second.
I'll give that to you,
Thank
Maria.
you. Cool, thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'm just going to put a little bug in your ears. Several years ago, a number of years ago, Mike Reynolds, the former highway superintendent, suggested and bristled that that was a confidential secretary position. He thought that because of the historic knowledge, it should be a permanent position. Scott Bonesteel has felt the same thing. So I'm going to do a little bit further investigation. I do believe we can make that a permanent position, which means we have to hire up the civil service list. So that could put Heather at a little jeopardy, but we're going to take a look at that and see. So I may be bringing that. So give it some thought. If you have any questions, get a hold of me.
Heather's been great, so.
Heather does it
What would be the point of changing it? I didn't catch that.
because that gives her security. She would be there regardless of who the supervisor, the superintendent. I
Are you
understand
talking about Heather or no?
Heather.
Okay.
I understand the supervisor's job, that office can be somewhat political in nature. The highway superintendent's job is not really confidential or political. And that's why it's really would pay to keep that as a permanent position. She's the deputy, in fact. So, I mean, there's tremendous amount of knowledge. Something to discuss. I just wanted to, I thought I'd throw it out there. To resolve the members of the town board and town officials are being reimbursed by the town for expenses incurred executing the duties of office, not including personal expenses, but including expenses for the use of public transportation or personal automobile transportation for travel out of town, whichever is less costly, unless otherwise approved in advance by the town supervisor. Personal automobile travel will be reimbursed at a rate of $0.05 per mile. Be it further resolved, the meal allowance shall be $30 per day, prorated for partial days, including gratuities, not to exceed 18%, but excluding alcoholic beverages. For business in New York City, the meal allowance shall be $50 per day. And be it resolved to authorize the highway superintendent to be reimbursed for expenses to provide beverages and meals to the highway department personnel when weather conditions force extended hours of work. And be further resolved, all expense accounts rendered under the authority of this resolution shall be paid, before being paid, shall be audited and approved by the town board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved, the town board shall meet in the following dates. You have the attachment that went out with these minutes. The second meeting of each month to be the business meeting. Said meetings to be held at the town offices, 45 Como Drive, or another location in the town of Woodstock designated in advance by the town board and via internet if permitted by executive order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved pursuant to section 21, subdivision 10A of the town law, the supervisor shall submit to the town board, the town clerk, and New York State Comptroller within 90 days after the close of the fiscal year a copy of an annual report as required by law, and the town clerk shall publish within 10 days in the official newspaper the fact that such annual report is available for inspection in the town clerk's office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved pursuant to section 142 of highway laws, superintendent of highways shall be authorized to rent equipment at a rate not to exceed $500 per hour for the year 2023.
Is that the rate? $500 an hour?
Yeah, we never hit that.
Holy
But
moly. Oh,
it's-
yeah, not to exceed, no, that's, okay,
Yeah.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign extra work order with Gulf Harbor Engineers for continued environmental monitoring services at the closed Woodstock landfill at a cost not to exceed $9,000.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the extent of our monitoring has decreased over the years, but of course, all kinds of expenses have gone up. It was $8,500 this year. They sent us a bill for 88, and I said, wait a second, we had the contract, and they said, oh yeah. So they promised me it wouldn't be over the 9,000. I expect it to be a little less than that. Be it resolved to make the following appointments to the zoning board of appeals. Joe Belloc, term to expire 12/31/27. Martin Mills, term to expire 12/31/23 as alternate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to appoint Gordon Wemp, chair of the ZBA for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to appoint Peter Cross, chairperson of the planning board for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to appoint Richard Kepner, town historian for the year 2023.
Second.
Everybody seconded that.
And we all second.
I'll give it to you, Mariana. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to make the following appointments to the Como Stewardship Advisory Committee. Marilyn St. John, term to expire 12/31/24. Patricia Jackson, term to expire 12/31/24. Paula Miller, term to expire 12/31/24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to make the following appointments to the Ethics Board. Iris York, term to expire 12/31/27.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And thank you, Iris.
Yay, well, thank you.
Be resolved to appoint Salvador Altamirano Segura, chairperson to the Woodstock Human Rights Commission for the year 2023.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next. Be it resolved to make the following appointments to the Cemetery Committee. Alice Latotsky, term to expire 12/31/25. Irene DeGraff, term to expire 12/31/25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to make the following appointments to the Woodstock Environmental Commission. Arlene Weissman, term to expire 12/31/24. Erin Moran, term to expire 12/31/24. Christopher Compton, term to expire 12/31/24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to nominate Erin Moran to the Ulster County Environmental Management Council to represent the town of Woodstock, and once appointed, for appointment by the Ulster County Environmental Management Council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think that is a 3-year term. Be it resolved to make the following appointments for the year 2023. Deputy Superintendents of Highway, Brian Chase and Heather Amy. Shop Supervisor for Woodstock Highway Department, Ralph Van Cleek. Deputy Town Clerks, Lynn Severt and Michelle Severt. HIPAA Officer, Pamela Boyle. Emergency Disaster Relief Coordinator, Fire Chief Kevin Peters.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint Rod Fudafas as attorney for the town at $165 per hour for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint John McGovern, prosecutor for the town at a rate of $165 per hour for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to appoint John Lyon, special counsel for the planning board at a rate of $165 per hour for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to appoint Matthew Rudokoff as the planning advisor to the planning board at a rate of $165 per hour for the year 2023.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Be resolved to engage the services of Patterson, Kosky, Boosie, CPA for the purpose of assisting the supervisor preparing the 2023 annual statement in Gatsby 34 form for a fee not to exceed $4,600.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign the following agreements for the year 2023. Family of Woodstock for social services. Meals on Wheels for meal delivery to shut-ins. American Legion Post 10-626 for coordinating Memorial Day functions honoring veterans of the American Wars. Blue Diamond Septic LLC and Bob Gehring Septic. And be it further resolved to authorize the wastewater superintendent to engage the services of other responsible entities charging the same price if the sudden need arises.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign the DWI task force agreement with Ulster County.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved. Actually, I'm gonna go through with this one. I've not heard from anybody, so I don't.
Yeah, I looked in the, I Googled to find out any information on it, and I
It's
didn't
this,
find anything.
it's this Saturday or Sunday, and I've called, the phone is
Well, can we ask the
disconnected.
press?
Do you know anything?
Do you know anything about Martin Luther King Day?
Where anything can find out.
Well, police should-
I spoke with Terry Leroy and she said they're not doing anything this year. But I don't know about anybody else.
So I'm going to offer this resolution on the off chance that somebody steps forward at the last minute. Be it resolved that January 15, 2023 celebration for Martin Luther King Day in the community center shall be a town-sponsored event, should one be held.
Aye.
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Sorry, Ben, did you do the DWI one?
Yeah.
You seconded that.
This one and
Be it resolved that August 19, 2023 annual Volunteers Day, but shall be a town-sponsored event and shall be a further resolved to appoint Tamara Cooper Volunteers Day Coordinator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think Reggie wanted that.
You want,
I've had more, I've heard this from Reggie.
Reggie, you got it, Reggie.
Yeah, thank you.
Whereas the town supervisor, town clerk, receiving taxes, and town justice court clerks are required by law to file an annual undertaking which shall remain full force and effect until the expiration of their term of office, termination of their employment, or further resolution by this town board. Whereas the town board determines it is beneficial and economical to provide the undertakings a blanketed bond, therefore be it resolved, all officers and or employees of the town will be bonded by a blanket bond in the amount of $5,000, except that the following positions shall carry an additional surety bond in the amount of $10,000: court clerk, town supervisor, and tax collector.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved to schedule a special meeting for the town board for January 19th, that's next Thursday, 2023 at 1 p.m. for the purpose of auditing the court, justice court, tax collector, the town clerk, and the town supervisor. The meeting will open at the Woodstock Town courtroom and then proceed to the town clerk's office and then the supervisor's office.
Second,
That work for everybody?
yes.
Mhm.
I heard sounds from the
Oh,
sound table. Maybe.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I think so.
I do have a conflict, but I can try to move it. It's a,
Do it a little early. You want to do it 11?
what time, how long, I envision that I'm gonna be conflicted. It's a personal doctor.
Is Friday okay with people?
Or how about Wednesday?
I
When?
cannot do Wednesday.
I
I
can't do
cannot do
Wednesday.
Wednesday either.
Wednesday's out.
Let's do Thursday and I will see if I can move this.
Well, doctors are hard to reschedule.
Oh,
Yeah.
11 o'clock, I can't do, I have.
How about 9 o'clock?
I can't do it now.
Well, is Friday a possibility?
No, there's another doctor's appointment. Let's do Thursday at 1 o'clock and I will seek to move this 1:30 and figure out how to.
So Bennett, what I will say is, and I think you remember last year, there are questionnaires that the state provides that we fill out. So the answers will all be, you'll be able to,
Documented.
they'll be documented
Right.
and you will be able to review them.
Well, as long as you have a quorum, so if you, Maria Elena, are there, will have a quorum, although you can't supervise, you can't review your own office, and you think you'll be there for at least part of it.
For one, no, I mean, I could take my lunch. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to take my lunch.
Okay,
Well, so what we should probably do is when Reggie's taking his lunch, do your office, because you can't really do your office, and we'll have a quorum. To do, for all of it, we'll have a quorum.
okay.
I definitely feel like I got more flexibility for Thursday in the afternoon than I do. I know Tuesday and Wednesday. I know
Okay,
I'm not available.
Yeah, I'm not available.
so who's seconding that?
I did,
Laura did. Oh, yeah. I got it
pretty
right
sure
here.
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And again, all the documentation will be available for you to review, so you will be able to vote to adopt or dispute the following week.
All right.
Be it resolved to establish the attached sheet enumerating the standard work days for the following titles for the purpose of reporting to the New York State Payment System.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I did include, I took them off the agenda because I wasn't going to make appointments, but I put them on there on the preliminary for you guys to take a look at and just get back to me in the next couple of days. I'd like to make the appointments next week. So tell me what you're interested in and,
I'm good. So next week,
or sorry,
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. We don't have our meeting until the 20th. The two I will make is appoint Ken Panzer, my liaison.
Maria Elena said something.
No, I sent an email about it.
Yeah,
And I sent an email back.
I appoint Ken Panza liaison to the Ulster County Climate Smart Communities and as the supervisor's technology advisor. And appoint Richard Hepner as liaison to the cemetery committee.
Second.
So those are these seconds.
These are just
Oh, disappointments.
supervisor's appointments.
Well, I said
That's
second.
great.
You can third,
I can't take
or
it.
that you can fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
Okay, that is the business for the day. I did briefly see, I didn't read the whole thing. There was an email from our attorney
Mhm.
about permits. I believe that I didn't read much of it, but you asked a follow-up question. So we,
And I will call with the region director for the DEC on Friday. So I'm going to email all of you and just ask if there are any questions you'd like me to ask in that meeting on Friday,
okay.
just to get some more answers.
Um,
around here.
And Laura, have you had any contact yet with the Army Corps of Engineers?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I haven't had contact
So
with them.
keep us apprised of that.
Yeah, but I had a conversation with Butch,
Mhm.
you know, and I asked Butch, and I attended the Citizens Against Terror meeting yesterday.
Mhm.
And I will be speaking at the Sobeys Planning Board
Excellent.
public hearing.
Are you going to go too?
But you're not going to be speaking as on behalf of the town board, are you?
Well, Reggie and I had a really good conversation today.
I think
And
you should both speak, but go on.
Well, first of all, Sobeys Planning Board asked that each organization only have one person speak, because they're given 5 minutes per person, they have a long list of people. So they did ask that each organization only have one person speak. I do plan to speak and mention that I am a member of the town board, which is different from saying I'm speaking for the town board. If I get a chance, and I do plan to document all of what I'm thinking of saying, and what Reggie said is, it would be good if we as a board actually took a position. So as I get this documented, I totally agree, it would be great. If I get it all organized and can send it around, and if we have a consensus and say people, the board agrees, then I can say I'm speaking for the board. Otherwise, I'll say I'm speaking as a board member, and there is a difference. So I am going to speak as a board member because I am approved to speak and I am a board member. So
It would be, it would be beneficial if we could speak
if we
in
see it, if you
a
see it,
united front.
well, that it would be beneficial.
Yes.
So I'll look to gather my thoughts and get something sent around for what my points are planned to be.
Excellent.
So, but I did talk with Butch, who also said he did not see us as a town as having a legal standing to require a wetlands and watercourse permit. So Butch also said, so all the answers we're getting say that, and I did speak with Jen Metzger, it was a day or two before her swearing in, I spoke with her, who is very clear that New York State is a home rule state. It is a home rule state, same thing that Rod Butterfast said, we are a home rule state. And so Jen, who is extremely environmental, and we all know that, I said, will you as the county want to do something? And her answer is, it is a home rule state. And so for the county to try to step in and tell celebrities how to do their business, that goes against being a home rule state. So there's a pretty clear line in terms of it's a home rule state. And I agree, Bennett, your point is the question is a valid question. Well, what if they were to damage our wetland because of their activity? But we cannot, it's a valid question of what if, but we cannot, and even Rod was very clear that we don't have grounds to be an involved agency.
But that's where the Army Corps of Engineers could help us out.
Yeah,
I
so.
think it's,
And I did- I did look-
it's critical that you reach. get
Yeah,
that over.
I looked them up and it's not like you can't just call a phone number, you have to like fill out a form and stuff, which I will do, but it wasn't as easy as just calling somebody when I searched.
Let me see if I can expedite.
I
it.
see if you get his phone
I still continue to believe that the alteration of the Woodstock wetlands in Woodstock requires a permit. I mean,
But they're not
I'm-
gonna do it.
but it doesn't say whether they're in Woodstock or whether they're somewhere
But it's
else.
not-
This is
I mean,
not,
this is a really technical question that I really think is very
so
important.
Bennett, I don't want this conversation to go off base, because I'm gonna disagree with you. And it's not because I'm in favor of the project, I don't believe we have the authority. If you look at the zoning law, at the front preamble, it definitively says parcels in the town of Woodstock. Now, how do you think, and maybe this is something to talk to the Army engineers, how do you think that, what's the detrimental effect to Woodstock? How are they going to alter Woodstock? And that might be something we take to the Army Corps of Engineers.
That is what I am saying. I am saying that the proposal that Terramore has offered to Saugerties actually does alter the property in Woodstock.
But that's the confusing part. I'm not totally with you on that. It could have the potential,
Right.
but it's not clear that it will.
I
And
think,
How do we preempt, and this is what Laura and I were talking today, it's out of our jurisdiction already. And we're saying, okay, it's going to affect, even though the project isn't there yet. How do we preemptively say that it's affecting us when it's not even there yet?
Well, we asked them to apply for a permit. If they refuse to apply for a permit,
Mhm.
then we ask for an injunction because it would be irreparable harm to the wetland. If they appeal that,
Mhm.
and if it's ruled against us, I mean, I think that this is a point that should be determined judicially, because it's clear there is a wetland in Woodstock, we know that. And it's clear that when the Terramore proposal was put before the planning board, they were going to alter the wetland. That wetland doesn't.
actually, Fred assured me that that was not the
Well,
case.
and the picture that they showed, when there's at the meeting last
Wait a
month.
minute, assured you, what was
That
that?
they are not altering the
The
wetland.
No, they-
meeting that you and I were at last month at the Saugerties Planning Board, one of the things that they showed was a picture of a map showing here are the wetlands, here's what's been built. And they, according to their map, are not gonna be building on the wetland. So
They
they
do have a
showed a map,
buffer.
they showed a map of the wetland, they showed where they're gonna do construction and whatever trees or whatever they're doing. And they know where the wetland is, and they have said they are not doing things on the wetland. They are probably not having the same buffer that we have for the wetland. However, they are saying they are not gonna be, they are not gonna be building on their wetland.
They
And-
actually are offering to trade in with they're gonna create wetlands through Ducks Unlimited because they are proposing to alter the wetland. They actually, in their proposal, do say they are altering the wetland, and they have offered a trade, and it is a trade that they will create land for wetlands along the Hudson with Ducks Unlimited with the town of
Well, that's
Saugerties.
not what they said.
No, but it's what's in their proposal.
That's not what they
I was
said.
under the impression though that got pulled. The other thing
It
that
did not.
But it's not what they said last month. What they
What?
presented last month was that they are not doing things on the wetlands, is what they presented. And Butch said, in Butch's opinion, and Butch is the person who would be going for the permit. He said that we do not have jurisdiction to ask them for a wetland work permit. I asked him that today. I had that conversation today with Butch.
and the DEC, the county planner, the town attorney.
The town attorney has not actually said that. That is not what was in the email that the town attorney responded to.
That we
What I want
can't,
to know is, can we enforce the wetlands law on Woodstock? Why can we not enforce our own law on our own town?
but they're not doing anything in Woodstock.
As a matter of fact, they are.
But it'll
That is the
affect us.
point.
But
They
they're not-
are
but they're
doing
not
something
across
in
They're
Woodstock.
not actually doing, no, they're not.
The
They're not.
activity that they're doing in Saugerties is altering the wetland in Woodstock.
But
We're
that-
not, I'm not saying,
There's not
There,
evidence of that.
there is a possibility that could happen, but there's
if
no
there is a
evidence.
possibility, then they need to apply
And they
for a
need to apply
permit.
for a permit.
No, because they're not physically coming into the town of Woodstock.
Well, Butch has said no. Butch has had conversations.
And
with
so
Matt
is-
Moore, and he said no.
And so is the town attorney has as well.
And
And-
I wrote this, I don't know if you saw it, but I wrote to Rod earlier today. And he did respond. I hadn't had a chance to really dig into it fully. But I can just even read a portion of this now. Actually, no, I'm not going because it's kind of out of context. So basically it's saying that we cannot apply Woodstock's watercourse and wetlands provisions to a project that's not located within the town of Woodstock. What then follows is that since we do not have jurisdiction to fund, approve, or directly undertake an action on this project, we do not qualify as an involved agency in the seeker process. While I understand the natural concern that can arise where environmental impacts of a project may adversely affect properties in neighboring jurisdictions, the seeker process does permit interested parties to raise concerns within the seeker process undertaken by the lead agency.
Which is what I plan to do.
Aware that this advice isn't what you want to hear and it won't make concerned Woodstockers happy. I'm sorry for that, but it represents my opinion of the law on this subject. You may seek permission from Saugerties to be treated as an involved agency and see what they have to say. You may also participate in the seeker process as an interested party. Some of the possible adverse effects which have brought to my attention, if true, make a strong case for mitigation. I don't feel, however, you are entitled to a greater role in that process. As always, I'm available to get deeper into this or discuss this further.
I would like
you
to,
wish.
because
So we should do that because we all just voted to pay $165 to a town attorney that's just given us advice. And so we should take, why are we paying him $165 to give us bad advice?
I don't think that it's bad advice, as you just said.
Yeah,
What I think is that, I think that the question is, can't we apply our law on our land?
right.
And,
But
and,
they're not-
Isn't it
but
worth
they
it to
don't own-
try to?
Well, I mean,
and
this is-
what he's saying is we can't apply it to a project in Saugerties. We're not applying it to a project in Saugerties.
We're applying it to our wetlands.
to our wetland.
Who owns the wetlands?
Well, a person living in the town of Woodstock owns those wetlands.
So then you would need to bring them an application and have them fill it out. They're the property owner.
But they don't want their wetland to be altered.
But
So you are saying that then we
No.
could.
no, I don't believe they're doing anything, but that's who you would have to serve it on. You can't serve an application outside the town. Look, again, I'm sympathetic to all this. I'm not happy about any of this. if this could work, why would I stand in the way of it?
Did you apply for a involved agency status with the town of Saugerties? or
I
the
couldn't, I
planning
talked
board?
with the secretary, the planning board secretary, so.
It was, you all saw it, it was in the purple folder, but we don't have
Did,
the
you
law.
did,
We were never given the
No.
option of being an involved agency. We were given the option
but
of
did you
saying,
make an application or did you inquire about it?
Yes, we had a
I
conversation,
inquired
that
about
there's nothing, there's no
And
standing.
Did
for us to
we,
do
did we
that.
miss the deadlines?
Yeah, the deadline was back in June.
The
Did we
only-
miss the deadline?
Ben,
Yeah,
Ben,
30
Ben, Ben,
days.
the only
So
deadline.
we
Yeah,
missed-
you looked
No,
at
wait,
it.
wait,
we
wait,
missed-
wait. I need
missed
a
the-
clarification. The deadline that happened back in June was whether or not we oppose Saugerties being the lead agency. We did not oppose Saugerties being lead agency. So the only deadline that came and went was a deadline to say, do we agree that they should be lead agency or do we disagree? And we don't disagree, they should be lead agency. It's a Saugerties project. We wouldn't be saying we should be lead agency. It makes sense for them to be lead agency. So there's no deadline that I'm aware of that has passed that changes anything we're
To
talking
become
about
an
now.
involved agency?
No, there
We're
were
an
no,
interested
we
agency.
were never
We-
given
we
the
don't-
option.
we
But
don't-
did we
But did we
apply?
apply or
we
did
don't-
we,
We have
or
an
did we
involved
ask?
agency?
Yeah, I
we don't
have asked, I
we
have
don't
asked the Saugerties Planning Board Secretary. I asked the Saugerties Planning Board Secretary about it. She said we are an interested agency. You don't just, you have to qualify. You don't just make up the rules as you go along. There's a law. And the law says, and just what Reggie was reading off there, when he was reading off about your jurisdiction, do you have legal jurisdiction? Do you have financial oversight over what's going on? If you don't have legal jurisdiction, and if you don't have financial oversight, then you can be an interested party, but then you're disqualified as an involved agency. So we don't qualify. It's not an issue of applying and screaming and, oh, we want this and we want that, and if 500 people scream, we're gonna get it. It's a matter of following the law.
Do you qualify for an involved agency?
I'm
No.
confused.
No,
Did you make an,
No.
did you make an inquiry about becoming an
I
involved
did.
agency?
I
Laura
did with this
did.
planning
Did
board
you?
secretary.
No, we don't have grounds for it.
Oh, so you didn't?
I did.
Laura-
I spoke to
Laura
the planning
asked
board
about it.
secretary.
I mean, the town
I spoke-
officially. the
No.
town officially
I
did.
spoke to the planning board, Saugerties Planning Board Secretary. She said, we are an interested party.
We don't have grounds to be an involved party.
We've asked like 500 people 500 times, and we keep getting the same answer. And the darn horse is dead, and I'm not quite sure why we keep beating the horse. I don't get it. We keep beating the same old horse. My
We-
Well, I
strategy,
think the point is that we care so much about our wetlands that we're trying to find a way to become an involved.
And we,
But that's-
and we
that's
have a
fine.
law
Let's-
that
we care
protects
about
them.
protecting.
Let's
And
do
we're
it, let's do
asking-
it legally.
yes.
Let's not
Absolutely.
make stuff up.
No,
and
it's
then
not making
accuse
stuff
people.
up. It's about looking in the law and really
So when we
digging
go
in.
to our, so
to see.
here, so Rod has written us, I read some of the email, we can all get a chance to read it and then ask
Yeah,
some
I
questions.
think I read it.
But we're
I read it.
asking, I mean, I had two simple, really clear questions. He answered it. And so I'm open, I'm curious to see what else he has to say in response to the other
Yeah.
questions.
And-
But if he's telling us that this is something out of our legal, out of the process, I don't understand. Are we supposed to just we just say, oh, no,
We can't
he's
waive
just
the
totally
law.
wrong. And then
No one
again,
is suggesting that we make anything up.
right, so,
So
saying,
why
of
aren't we
course.
listening to our?
And so but we're asking our town attorney for his legal opinion, and he's not saying anything about making that, he's giving us reasons why it's not appropriate for us to be an involved agency. So
What
anyway,
I-
I'll be curious to see the other questions. and
Yeah, I mean,
responses.
what I'm asking is, can we apply our law to property in Woodstock? That's what I'm asking.
Right, and he is saying we cannot apply, he's saying it's out of our jurisdiction. So I'll be curious to see, I'll say, I'll be curious to see the other questions and hear his response.
But what is the action being taken on Woodstock property? That
Alteration of the wetlands.
So,
But not
so hold on,
necessarily.
let's be clear, because you say alteration of the wetlands. So you're telling me that Terramore is physically gonna go on this property and alter it?
No, the alteration,
So they're not gonna do that.
they are going to alter the property.
And maybe not.
In
You don't
Woodstock?
have evidence.
Yes,
of
they
it.
are gonna alter the property
You-
in
They're
Woodstock.
physically gonna come into Woodstock and alter the
So,
property.
Where's
so
your
I think
evidence?
that's a really
Where's your
good,
evidence?
you know what, as a matter of fact, it is in their proposal that they have proposed to alter the wetlands on that property, and that they have offered a trade in kind to do so. And that is before the Saugerties Planning Board.
Well,
That is not,
again,
that is-
Laura,
that-
I will get you the number for the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yes.
I think it is critical that they be involved because they can go across boundaries that we cannot.
Right.
and ensure and work with us to ensure that Woodstock's wetlands are not harmed.
And I will happily, if you get me a phone number, happy. to call
I,
you.
I,
That's-
I will
that's
work
it.
on getting contact for you. I didn't know you were stymied on that.
I wasn't, yes.
And I will send the email out to everyone in the morning, if not tonight.
Well, we saw
Just
it.
for
was
the
you
DEC,
respond-
no,
oh,
not
DEC
Rod,
thing,
the
gotcha.
DEC thing, just with questions, so I can capture it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Reggie.
definitely get
Thank
me
you.
the,
Mhm.
And so to region directors, I'll be curious to see what she has.
And you know, I don't know why,
But it's
but,
not,
but
it's not because we don't care about or that I'm in favor of Tara Moore or anything like that.
Right, exactly.
So, anyway,
But and I think the most effective way, I think the most effective path forward is what I plan to do, which is have a good solid statement to the planning board about the risks of what's happening, mitigations that ought to get done, and some of the options that they have, and that they ought to give themselves control in the future. I have a number of things that I want to propose to them and to say, and I think having us stand on legal ground and making statements is the way to proceed forward, is the effective way. I think trying to beat this dead horse about our position. I like the idea of Army Corps of Engineers. I like if we get some higher body who does have jurisdiction, get them involved. That's a great idea. It's pretty clear that we as a town of Woodstock don't have jurisdiction, but if we can get a higher body who has some jurisdiction because they cover it, I think, but I just don't want to be ineffective. I don't want to flail around in something where we don't have legal grounds. I want to look for the way that is legal and that everybody agrees works.
and put our energy into that.
Exactly.
I would also, I think, and I mentioned this, I believe, a meeting or two ago, I think it's important that we continually remind Saugerties that, yes, it's their project to oversee. However, we do have laws, our own laws right across the line
Right.
that protect our property, and it's, as a neighbor, we're calling on them to notice our laws and to do the best
Yes.
to ensure that our properties are protected.
I think we're just gonna have to disagree on this. I
Okay.
believe that the law does allow us to protect our wetlands. And I believe that we should require alteration of wetlands permits to be issued. And I think that if they came forward and showed us that they weren't going to alter the wetlands in Woodstock, then we wouldn't have to issue a permit, but they in fact are going to be altering the wetlands in Woodstock. And I think that's why they need a permit.
Well, everyone else that we've asked, you're alone in that opinion, but let's continue to have a conversation with Rod. I've also reached out to John Lyons, the planning board attorney. He and I had a verbal conversation the other day, and he's going to do more research, but he's of a similar opinion to Rod. That we
and if you could email us, so we just see, that would be,
Yeah.
if you would just start a chain, that would be great. So it's just all right there.
Okay, with that, I will move to adjourn.
I would like to.
We're not doing public, come in 2 weeks, we're gonna do public be heard.
No, I won't be here.
Oh, you'll be here.
No, I won't.
All right, let me adjourn the meeting and then
You
you
will
can.
see me for a month. So-
Oh, no.
No. Peru, headed to Peru?
All right, we do we adjourn?
Do we adjourn?
No, move to adjourn second.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
But go ahead while we're wrapping up. Let's hear what you have to
First,
say.
first, I want to congratulate Reggie for that beautiful performance he did at the Lindsay Webster.
Thank
It
you.
was fantastic. You
I heard it
want to
was-
have been there.
I heard it was stunning.
It was really great. And second, I need to know what's going on with the spectrum and the sound.
Well,
system.
if you were here earlier, you would have heard that we have a new company that's coming in to run wires, and we may be able to get rid of Spectrum in very short.
But didn't you sign a contract 10 years recently with Spectrum?
Oh, really? There's another company that's coming.